Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Beauty's garage. Today we're gonna do a little bit of work on this old lady. Remember her? The 1962, I believe, Triumph TR4, which went under a restoration 2 seasons ago, and it's been on the roads ever since. I mean, only for the driving season, of course, not in the winter. But the last winter she spent in that shed over there, in the white shed. She just came out and she looks like not in a great shape. I mean, she's dirty, that's it. For those of you who don't know the story of this car, this is Chef Tash's car, unfortunately not mine. I have one too, this one over there, and I'm hoping to find time for it to turn it into the same thing. But back to this car, even though it looks like it is in a really bad shape, it is not. Because 2 years ago, somewhere in the middle of the 2023 driving season with David, we decided to take her out. She was just sitting and waiting for a restoration, but we decided to take her out and skip a few steps and make her good for the road. So what we did was we tore her apart completely except the engine. Everything else was taken apart and rebuilt, including transmission, suspension, brakes, interior, like everything that you can think of. But look, the interior is in a great shape. It's better than many TR4s that are on the road for years. But we decided that we're gonna fix everything except the body. Well, I mean, we welded a little bit here and there, but we kept most of the patches as they are. As you can see here, for example, the bead disappears under a patch that goes over it. That's how somebody restored it in the past. This one as well. You see how the bead goes up to here and then it disappears because there's lots of body filler here and there's lots of things that are not great about the body. But we decided that we're gonna keep the body this way with all the patina, and we even created more patina than what it was already. So what the white underneath here that you see, that's the primer, and then the red paint on top. So as she was waiting for a restoration, she faded to this point. So we dealt with the body a little bit. I think there was a hole here or something that we welded and stuff like that. But we kept this look, and then David just clear coated on top. It was a brush on clear coat actually. So this patina is the final look of the car. She's not going to be a nice shiny car. That's how it stays. This is the final look of this car. Now, I said the engine we didn't rebuild, and that's how I drove her, because even though it's David's car, I'm driving her. I drove her to the trials in US in 2023. She did, like, I believe about 1,200 miles soon after we did the restoration in 2023. But it turned out that the engine was not in great shape. It was burning oil. One cylinder was fouling the spark plug all the time. So over the next winter, we took the engine out and we rebuilt it. And then last season, I drove her again like that with a new, freshly rebuilt engine. And it was great. That was last year in 2024. And then at the end of the driving season, I drove her again to the US to the next trials. She did another road trip with a rebuilt engine this time. So at the end of the season, we parked her, like I said, in that shed, and that's where she was ever since. So I just took her out the other day. I took her quickly on the road just to see if she's gonna drive well. But now it is the end of the day. Today I worked on that Spitfire. So I parked it, and I decided that now after dinner, I'm gonna come for a power hour and I'm gonna do a little bit of work on her because she requires regular maintenance, nothing serious. I mean, I think on the last drive, I snapped the choke cable, so the choke cable needs to be replaced, but that's the only repair that she needs, I believe. Other than that, it is just, we're gonna wash her, of course, we're gonna change the oil, we're gonna inspect the suspension, we're gonna check the hubs, we're gonna lubricate here and there, make sure that everything works, like lights and stuff, and then she's gonna be ready for the 2025 driving season. You see, she still has the stickers from the six-pack. And you know what? I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't need to take it out. Corning, New York. In 2023, it was in Pennsylvania. That was just before the Roadster factory got fire. Anyways, without further ado, let me start draining the oil. Then we're gonna take the wheels off. We're gonna do a quick inspection under there. You see, she's missing a logo there. I don't think I'm gonna hold you here for everything. I just wanted to show you that she is out of storage. Okay, so the oil is draining and the filter is out, and I just wanted to show you quickly. This is what came off. That's David Tashingham bought this filter last year, I believe, but it is a little bit too small. This is the one that I like to use. So 1374 fits and it works, but 1516 is a little bit bigger and it has the same threads and the same diameter here on top. So this is 3/4 and this one is also, come on, this one is also 3/4. So that's what's gonna go in. That's the one that I use for TR6, the ones that have the spin-on oil filter adapter, and for TR4s as well, and TR3s of course. So it is Napa Gold, and apparently it's just a rebranded Wix. So, okay, so the rotor is out and the bearings are out. Actually, I have them here on the table, cleaned up. They are in a good shape. So we're just gonna repack them and reinstall them. But before we put this rotor back, I wanna show you here underneath what I'm gonna do. And sorry, but I'm out of power. Like yesterday they cut the power for a few hours, today they cut it again. So it's dark here, but here underneath, you see we have a grease zerk on the actual trunnion where we're gonna inject gear oil. And there's two other zerks for the bearings on the side. So these we're gonna pack with grease. Unfortunately, the ball joints don't have greased zerks or the tie rod ends, but they are pretty new, so they should be fine. Maybe next year we're gonna drill holes and we're gonna put greased zerks so we can grease them. But for now, I don't think they need them. And underneath, we can go here. The drive shaft has a greased zerk. It's right on top now, so we're gonna have to turn it. But now it's in gear. And we have a greased zerk here on the e-brake cable, so we're gonna grease that as well. Unfortunately, I can't really reach you see the greased zerk on this U-joint, but I don't think I can put my gun there. I'll try anyways, but you see there's a little bit of oil dripping from the overdrive from here, and then the entire overdrive is a little bit oily. It is a Triumph, right? But because it is dripping a little bit, we're gonna make sure that it is topped up, and then we're gonna top it up with non-detergent oil. That's what we have in it. And I just spoke to David Tashingham to ask him if he remembers what we put in the diff, and he said that it's GL4. So we're gonna put GL4 in that. We have greased zerks here on these hubs, and we're gonna grease those as well. And I think that's gonna be everything. The oil is changed, so we're gonna check the dashboards and top them up if we have to. We're gonna check the coolant. We're gonna check the brake fluids. Ugh. If I can open them. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this car had .5. I don't know, we'll see. We can tell by the color when we open it. And that's it, I think. And after that, we just need to wash it and take it out on the road. It is a beautiful day today. It's the next day, as you can see. Last night, I didn't realize it was so late. It was like 10 p.m. and I was still in the garage, so I ran inside. But anyways, yeah, I have no power today, so I can't really do anything else on the Spitfire. I have the windshield frame out, which I have to patch. It has a rusty hole and we need to weld it, but no power. That doesn't happen often, but now it happened twice in 2 days. Anyway, all right, so everything is lubricated here in the back and wiped, because I hate when there's grease all over the place. So once I grease and it starts squirting on the outside, I go ahead and I wipe it. Then we put the rotor with the bearings repacked with fresh grease. Wipe the rotor with acetone because there were some greasy fingers on it. Now we're gonna check the brakes. We're gonna open them a little bit to make sure that both cylinders still move in and out. The pads look good, and we're gonna assemble it. And then we're gonna do the same on the other side. All right, the caliper is on, and now before we close this side, we're gonna take a look at the suspension. As you can see here, the bushings, can you believe these are 2 years old? Not even 2 years. But the quality of the rubber nowadays is so low. So that's why it is always recommended to use polyurethane bushings if you can afford them. It's unbelievable. I think they're gonna last for the season, but definitely next year we're gonna have to replace them. I don't know if these are rubber, but I think everything is rubber, right? And it's just a shame. I think the other ones are not bad. It's just these. I don't know why. But anyways, it's something that we need to take care of. Maybe next winter. Okay, the other side is assembled as well. And here the bushings are pretty much in the same shape. And I realized that I didn't show you on the other side how to inspect the ball joint and the bushings, etc. So what I do is I put the jack under the control arm, just like that. Now here I had to use a piece of wood so I don't damage the zerks, but I just raised it a little bit to remove the tension from the upper control arm. Otherwise, when the spring is pushing down on the lower control arm, you have tension here as well. So now that it is loose, you can just take a pry bar and make sure that the ball joint doesn't have excessive play, which here it doesn't. These bushings here, they might move a little bit, but that's the flex of the actual bushing, right? So if there's a flex in them, that's fine. How do I do that? You see how they move a little bit? That's normal flex. But if they wiggle up and down and all over the place, then that would be a problem. You see here. You just need to find a good place where to support your pry bar. And these are, like, the bushings are not bad internally, but this part here is trapped. Same here. No excessive play here. Now these still have tension on them because of the weight of the car is on the lower control arm right now, but you can tell more or less if they're good or bad. Here we can play with the tie rod and it doesn't shake or anything, so it is pretty good. So I'm gonna put this wheel on and we're gonna move on to the rear. All right, here at the back, we're gonna take the drums off and we're gonna check the brakes, make sure that we still have enough material on the brake shoes. Nothing is detached, like all the springs are in place, etc, etc. And when we put it back on the drum, we're gonna see if we need to adjust a little bit the adjusting screw here for the distance. Let me show you, because you see it spins pretty easy. Normally you have a very, very little drag from the brake shoes, but now here we don't have it, so maybe the brake shoes are a little bit worn. First, look at the drums. No ridge. Sometimes a ridge forms here at the end. The center gets worn, but not here at the end, and it creates troubles. But here we are in a good shape. Yeah, the pads look good. Nice and even. Sometimes they get worn more on the top, which is, no, I'm saying top and bottom, because normally the adjuster is at the bottom and the wheel cylinder is at the top on on normal setup. On TR4, for whatever reason, they decided to put it upside down, so this is your wheel cylinder here and this is your adjuster. But because this is with a part that opens all the time, the pads wear more on this side, and that's when, with this adjuster screw here from behind, you open here a little bit, and then you start using more of the material again, of the brake material. I can tell definitely that here it is smoother and here it is smoother and here it is a little bit rough. So we're gonna open that, but we're gonna open it once we put the drum back on. But here they move. The spring is in place. This spring is in place. These sometimes they fall and create troubles. These are retainers that hold the shoes from rattling this way. So that's a pin that comes from behind, and this goes and locks on it. I can take it out just for a second to show you. So this is the pin that goes from behind, and if this is not there, the shoes can do this, and we don't want them to do this. So we make sure that these didn't fall. Everything is in place, so everything is good here. Oh, now I see there's another jerk here that I didn't grease. I didn't realize. Okay, let me grease it from here. Yeah, I think just one pump is enough here. The adjuster here is square, I believe 1/4 inch square, and it has clicks. So for every quarter turn, I believe, it clicks. So we're gonna turn it, we wanna tighten it a little bit. So we're literally tightening it, and there you go. It went one click, I could feel it. And we are still pretty tight here, pretty loose, I mean. So we're gonna do another quarter turn. Now you see it starts dragging every once in a while. So let's do one more turn. One more quarter. Yeah. I think that's good, because let's do one more just to see if it is going to become too tight. Okay. No, actually. Wow. That's 1.5 turns so far. 1 3/4. Okay, I think that's good now. So now I can feel the drag. So I'm gonna reverse it 1/4, and that's where I'm gonna keep it. Okay, so that's 1.5 turns on this side. So we're gonna do pretty much the same thing on the other side. Now here, again, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry it's dark, but actually I can bring a light. We're gonna inspect again visually the bushings on the shackle and on the eye in the front. And again, we're gonna just go with a pry bar and make sure that we don't have excessive play anywhere. Yeah, looks good. And the other side, the front as well. I know you can't see much, but I can. Yeah, looks good there. And the last thing here before we finish this side is we're gonna open this screw here and make sure our lever shock is topped up. Now this side, I remember, was leaking when we first put the car on the road, but I think after that we replaced this one. I don't know what happened, but you will see now how much. So what I use here is jack oil. Some people use motorcycle fork oil. I just use jack oil. Again, depends on the what kind of a ride you want. So let's see, we're gonna fill it up until it leaks. Wow, that's a lot. There you go. So took about, what is this, like 20 milliliters, I guess. Well, it's not that much. At least it wasn't empty. Okay. And we lubricated the frame, so it's not gonna rust. Okay. I'm gonna go do the same on the other side. This side was the same situation. The shock also took pretty much the same amount of oil, and we had to adjust a little bit the adjuster on the brake, and that was it. So that's assembled, and now the last thing underneath the car is we're gonna top up the diff and the transmission. So I don't know if they're low, but we're gonna have to check them. So for the diff, we're gonna use this classic gear oil, EP80W90 GL4. This is, I know that David was getting that from some special place before, but I think it's more available now. Anyways, that's his jug. And for the transmission, we're gonna use the 30 weight non-detergent by Valvoline. I use non-detergent because it is designed for low pressure hydraulic systems, and we know that in the overdrive we have some pressure, right? And it's not super high, but it is pressure, and some oils foam under pressure. You don't want them pressurized too much, and that's why non-detergent. This is also used in compressors. I think that's perfect for the transmission. That's what I use in all my overdrive transmissions. So I'm gonna go and do that on my own. I'm gonna use a pump. I have a little pump, let me show you. I have this pump that goes into any bottle, and then I remove the filler cap and I put this inside, and then I pump until it starts leaking out. So I'm gonna go do that on my own under the car, and then we're gonna see what's next. All right, the transmission and the differential are topped up. Actually, the transmission is topped up. It took quarter of a quart, and the differential didn't need anything, so that's great. And as you can see, I still don't have power, so I'm gonna drop it on the ground and I'm gonna take it outside because it is brighter outside, and then we're gonna go ahead and change the choke cable, because it's amazing how bright it looks on camera actually. But where's the choke cable? Yeah, it snapped. Where did it snap? I remember it snapped last time, but let's see. Yeah. Oh. I don't know where it snapped. Maybe somewhere in the middle of the thing, but anyway, we're gonna take it out and replace it. Okay, so we have here a brand new cable that with David we were preparing for this job, but I don't like it, to be honest. It is just generic knob and solid wire inside, and I just don't like it. So I found this one, which was a duo, for a duo choke cable, for dual carburetor. And yeah, we have dual carburetors here, but only one cable for both carburetors for the chokes. So it was like this, but the short one was too short. I mean, it was cut already. The long one was fine, but here the cable was chewed kind of, and it was in a bad shape. So I put 3 different sizes of shrink tubing, one inside the other, and I just made a step from here all the way to here, and now it is holding, and now we have a cable, and it's a choke cable. I don't know what's in the car. Maybe we're gonna use the knob from the car, but we can use it here. And we have an end here that's moving, so let's replace it. Okay, so it turns out that this is also a dual choke cable, and we were using the long one, but I don't know what happened. Look, when I move this, the short one is moving, but the long one, look, it is in a loop and comes back here. Look, nothing. So it broke somewhere in the middle. I don't know where, but anyway, the new one is installed now here. I pushed it through, and now I just need to hook it up somehow here. So it hooks up into this little hole there, like that, and then this part clips here, like that. So I'm just gonna tighten those screws and we'll see if it is gonna work. Okay, it's all hooked up, and it works as it should. And I opened the 2 reservoirs here, and it turns out we have DOT 3 brake fluid, but it turns out I'm out of DOT 3 brake fluid. So I'm gonna close them, and we're gonna go to the store. But first we're gonna wash the car. Okay, she's nice and clean now, and she's ready for the road. Except 2 things. Like we said, we have to top up the brake fluid, and I'm forgetting something here. That's better. Haha. Mobile advertisement. Okay, we had a quick visitor here, test driving a car that he just worked on. Where are you going with that? Eh? Cock.